And that right there, squad, is your mission. Retrieve Superman's red underwear, as we believe it's the source of his power. Any questions? Shark King.
Hand.
Yes, that is your hand. Okay, any...
Foot.
Yes, that is your foot.
Ah.
Put your pants back on, man. What the heck?
Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on this video. My name is Chris. I just got back from watching The Suicide Squad. And with The Suicide Squad, it's both a sequel and a rebranding from the first Suicide Squad movie that we got from David Ayers. In this movie, however, we'll find old and new villains coming together to face a threat that could be a big problem for the human race. That's all pretty much say without giving any spoilers to you guys. This is a spoiler-free review. I'll definitely be doing a spoiler review once the movie is released because there are some nice surprises in here along with an after-credits scene, so make sure your butt is in that seat all the way through the credits. But I also want to go ahead and thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Cinemark Theaters. They were the ones who were able to provide me with my own private screening for the Suicide Squad, letting me invite both my family and my friends. You guys already know my opinion. Nothing beats a movie theater experience, especially when you're surrounded by friends. But I think with the Suicide Squad, it's definitely going to want to be a movie you see with a crowd as long as you take the necessary safety precautions and they're open in your area. Thankfully, Cinemark Theaters is very up to date with COVID precautions and takes cleanliness very seriously, but not only that, they got them delicious snacks. So use the link in my description or my pinned comment to go ahead and check out your local Cinemark theaters to find a showing for the Suicide Squad. Book your tickets now because you are going to want to be part of this. Alright, so with the movie The Suicide Squad, I was kind of mixed whenever they announced it, okay? Just the crazy journey that was James Gunn being fired from Disney, then being hired by DC. The man had the opportunity to do whatever he wanted, a Green Lantern, a Batman, a Superman movie, and he chose another Suicide Squad movie. What? But once you actually see the movie, you really understand why James Gunn went ahead and chose the Suicide Squad to be his DC debut. Just the amount of passion that is oozing off this movie and the amount of flavor that James Gunn throws in here, it makes this movie a real fun time. And even though I already knew James Gunn was a great director, I had no idea I would end up liking the movie this much. Like, one of the best things about this movie is the R-rated tone. It's something that's definitely gonna make it stand out from a lot of the comic book movies that are made today because it gets very gory and violent. Like, when they were marketing this movie and they told you not to get attached to anybody, we knew some people would be dying, but the way they end up dying, oh, James Gunn, thank you. I think anybody who's a horror fan is going to be really happy with the amount of blood and guts in this film. But in true James Gunn fashion, it's handled in such a way where you can still laugh at it, find it a little silly, but still definitely feel the stakes when things get serious in this film. Because that's another thing I absolutely ended up loving is each one of the members of the Suicide Squad I found myself really attached to, really liking. James Gunn is able to find a great divide in being able to tell you the backstory to certain characters while the movie is flowing, giving each member of the Suicide Squad its moment to shine and really showcase its powers. Because someone like Polkadot, man, we all laughed at the idea of that ever being a villain in live action form, but the man is not only psychotic, but pretty deadly. If I did have to pick a favorite dynamic though, it was the relationship between Bloodsport and Peacemaker. They're just two dudes trying to one-up each other the whole movie, see who's a better mercenary, who's got the better skills, who's got the better talent, and there's just a great payoff towards the end of the movie. Also want to mention, because I know people are saying this, that Bloodsport is just a knockoff Will Smith Deadshot, just because he's also handy with a gun and happens to have a younger daughter. And this role was originally meant for Will Smith, but because he was filming another movie, he couldn't be part of this film. And again, I'll say no. You see huge differences in the father-daughter relationship in between this character to Will Smith's character, and even his own personal skill set that does not make him seem like a Deadshot ripoff. If anything, I kind of like Bloodsport a little more than Deadshot. The dude has some awesome gadgets in his suit. I would spend time talking about like the best members of the squad, but I truly mean it when I say each member gets their moment, where I find myself even liking the Ratcatcher character. Or heck, even someone like Rick Flag, who I had no previous connection to or didn't care at all in the first Suicide Squad movie, which I don't want to be that guy who spends an entire review just nitpicking why this movie is way better than the previous one. I give no fault to David Ayers, and I would love to see the Ayers cut someday. The other comparison I see people throwing out there is this, oh my god, this is just James Gunn redoing Guardians. And let me tell you, no, this really does not feel anything like Guardians. James Gunn was able to pull off its own unique style and take for this Suicide Squad movie, where it it doesn't feel like he's just rehashing the Guardians of the Galaxy script. This to me felt vastly different from Guardians of the Galaxy. So putting that aside, other reasons that I feel like this movie really works is because it gets straight to the point about what you're after. Minutes into being into the movie, you already have a team assembled, you're going after a mission, and then through the entirety of the movie, you're in the middle of that mission. There's no big giant leaps to a bigger DC universe or larger connections to other movies in this world. This film is just about the Suicide Squad, and it keeps it contained to that. And since DC just can't figure out a real plan to have a connected universe, their movies work best when they tell their own story, and that's what you're getting here, is a really great story that has a lot of twists and turns and surprises that weren't shown off in the trailer. Because while no, this isn't the greatest comic book movie ever made or an ingenious masterpiece, it's the perfect comic book movie for knowing exactly what it is. It leans into the silly stuff, it gives you the action-packed things you want to see, it entertains you a lot. I honestly think Warner Brothers would be crazy not to give someone like James Gunn another shot at some other sort of DC property, whether that is a Suicide Squad sequel, which hats off to them for not really pushing for that in this film, but someone like Gunn who just has a passion and understanding for these comic book characters would be great for DC to have. So while I could obviously nitpick some things like, oh, maybe there was too much gross out humor or some of the jokes were a little too immature for me, I really don't have any negative things to say about it. I just had a fantastic time and I honestly can't wait to see this movie again. So for Suicide Squad, I'm gonna give action 4 stars. There is a lot of great action in here. Not only is a lot of it really well choreographed, like some of the Harley Quinn fight scenes, it's very bloody, it's gory, and it even will make you laugh from time to time. Comment in the movie, I'm also gonna give it 4 stars here. I found myself laughing a lot throughout this film, especially with some of the King Shark stuff. It's a character I found not only funny, but also just so adorable, but in a deadly way. Drama in the movie, I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. A lot of that has to do with the way they're able to tell their story, go straight into a mission, but at the same time, be able to blend in a lot of origin stories and catch you up on why certain members are part of this team. Even a little bit of the aftermath involving their mission at hand, I thought was really cool. Horror in the movie, I'll just give it 1 star too, and that's really because of the amount of blood, gore, and violence in here. So maybe not that it'll scare you, but if you are squeamish, watch out for this one. Suspense in the movie, I'm gonna have to give it 3.5 stars. James Gunn did a fantastic job of making you feel like any character could die at any moment, and man, there are so many characters in here that when they were killed off screen, I audibly yelled, no! Casual fans, I'm gonna give it an A+. Cinephiles, I'm gonna give it an A+. And critically, I'm going to give it an A-. For James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, I give it the 3C guarantee. It's definitely top tier DCEU, and I think is only going to want them to stick to just standalone stories with great visionary directors. And you know what? I'm completely fine with that if it means more movies like this. So let me know if you guys are going to be watching The Suicide Squad. Will you be watching it in theaters or on HBO Max? If you're watching this and you've already seen the movie, let me know if you enjoyed it. Do you think it's one of DCU's best? Did you have any negatives with the movie? I found a hard time finding anything I disliked about it. Be sure to stay for the spoiler review. And again, thank you to Cinemark for sponsoring this video and letting me see the movie early. Check out their link in my description and comment down below. But as always, guys, my name's Chris. Take care.